Exodus 17. The whole community of the Israelites traveled on their journey from the wilderness of Sin according to the Lord's instructions, and they pitched their camp in Rephidim. Now there was no water for the people to drink, so the people contended with Moses, and they said, "Give us water to drink." Moses said to them, "Why do you contend with me? Why do you test the Lord?" But the people were very thirsty for water, and they murmured against Moses and said, "Why in the world did you bring us up from Egypt to kill us and our children and our cattle with thirst?" Then Moses cried out to the Lord, "What will I do with this people? A little more, and they will stone me." The Lord said to Moses, "Go over before the people, take with you some of the elders of Israel, and take in your hand the staff with which you struck the Nile, and go. I will be standing before you there on the rock of Horeb, and you will strike the rock, and water will come out of it so the people may drink." And Moses did so in plain view of the elders of Israel. He called the name of the place Massah and Meribah, because of the contending of the Israelites and because of the testing of the Lord, saying, "Is the Lord among us or not?" Amalek came and attacked Israel in Rephidim, so Moses said to Joshua, "Choose some of our men and go out fight against Amalek. Tomorrow I will stand on top the hill with my staff of God in my hand." So Joshua fought against Amalek, just as Moses had instructed him. And Moses, Aaron, and Hur went to the top of the hill. Whenever Moses raised his hands, then the Israelites prevailed. But whenever he would rest his hands, then Amalek prevailed. When the hand of Moses became heavy, they took a stone and put it under him, and Aaron and Hur held up his hands, one on one side and one on the other. And so his hands were steady until the sun went down. So Joshua destroyed Amalek and his army with the sword. The Lord said to Moses, "Write this as a memorial in the book and rehearse it in Joshua's hearing. For I will surely wipe out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven." Moses built an altar, and he called it, "The Lord is my banner." For he said, "For a hand was lifted up to the throne of the Lord, that the Lord will have war with Amalek from generation to generation." So the whole company now moves on. We've just had a story about complaint, and our next story is a story about complaint. This is the pattern that we're going to see, is story of complaint and disobedience, a story of complaint and disobedience. God just brought them out of Egypt. He's shown them all of his power, but they just can't manage to survive long enough to be able to be, I guess, happy about anything. You'd love to chat after stream? All right. Yeah, I should be able to do that. Okay, Rephidim. What do we have here? The location is a bit of a problem. Okay, yeah, I figured that. Okay, there is no water for the people to drink, so the people contend with Moses, "Give us water to drink." Moses said to them, "Why do you contend with me? Why do you test the Lord?" But the people were thirsty for water, and they murmured against Moses, "Why in the world did you bring us out of Egypt to kill us and our children and our cattle of thirst?" Isn't that interesting? We now are adding our children and our cattle. These words deny God for credit from bringing out of Egypt, impugning the integrity of Moses and God by accusing them of bringing the people out here. Well, it's impugning integrity. You brought us out here to die. I don't know that they're denying God credit for I wouldn't go that far. It's just the way you're wording it, because Moses was leading. So Moses cries out to God and says, "What will I do with this people? A little more and they will stone me." So Moses is like, what do I do with them? What do I do with them? So God says, go before the people, take with you some of the elders, take the staff in your hand that struck the Nile, and go. So the staff that has done the miracles has been used. I will be standing before you there on the rock of Horeb, and you will strike the rock, and water will come out of it, and the people will drink. The form of the Hiphil perfect with the Vav construct, it follows the future nuance. Okay, that's all they're saying there. Oh, no. So this time he strikes the rock. So the rock gets struck, and we're going to have water come out of it. So this is done in plain view of the elders. The elders are there. The elders are witness to this. And hey, elders, why can't you keep your people in line? Maybe help Moses out a bit here, bud, He called the place Massah and Meribah. Okay. So maybe they have in the footnote. The name Massah means proving. It is derived from the verb to test, prove, try, and the name Meribah means strife. It is related to the verb to strive, quarrel, contend. The choice of these names of the place would serve to remind Israel for all times of this place, this failure with God. God wanted this and all subsequent generations to know how unbelief challenges God, and yet he gave them water. So in spite of their failure, he remained faithful to the promise. Yeah, one of those things we need to remember is when they complain and murmur, God still provides for them. He still provides for them. Even though they are not trusting him to provide, he still does the providing. Amalek came and attacked them at Rephidim. Okay, so this is the Amalekites, whichever way you want to say it. So they are coming out of Egypt, and one group decides, let's go attack them. So Moses said to Joshua, now here we don't see God giving the instruction, but since Moses talks to God directly, we may not need to know that God gave him in the instructions. It might not be the important part of this part of the story, because the important part is the carrying out of it. So choose some of your men and go out and fight the Amalekites. Tomorrow I will stand on top of the hill with the staff of God in my hand. So Joshua went out and fought the Amalek, just as Moses had instructed him. And Moses and Hur went to the top of the hill. Whenever Moses raised his hands, Israel would prevail, but whenever Moses rested his hands, Amalek would prevail. Like this is a weird story. The power of the staff being raised. Now, I wonder, does he have to hold it with two hands? Or does he just hold it with one hand? Does he just hold the staff with one hand? I don't know. If you're holding it with one hand, you could switch to the other hand and back and forth and, figure that out. I don't know. Does he have to hold it with two hands? Anyway, we're going to find out. Holding it up, they win. He puts his hand down, they lose. How much, anguish is that going to cause you if you hold your hand up and your side wins and you lower your hand and your side's losing? Like the trauma of I can't hold my hand up and people are going to die? How awful would that be? Anyway, so Aaron and Hur come alongside, one on one side, one on the other, so his hands were steady. They also took and they put a stone, put it under him. So this sounds like he's sitting down now. They give him a stone to sit on so that they don't have to hold their hands as high. They could hold their hands here, but his hands will be up. Like my hands when they're up and I'm sitting are going to be lower than if I'm standing. But if you're standing next to me, you can help a whole lot easier than keeping your hands above your head. So, anyway, Joshua destroyed Amalek and his army with the sword. Now we have a little extra. The Lord said to Moses, write this as a memorial in the book and rehearse it in Joshua's hearing, for I will surely wipe out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven. Moses built an altar, and he called it, the Lord is my banner. For he said, for a hand was lifted up to the throne of the Lord, that the Lord will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. Let me see what they have. The Hebrew word here, Yahweh Nissi. God is my banner. Okay. So we get done with this, and hey, you need to write down that Amalek is to be destroyed. They came, they attacked my people before we even got to the mountain, before we even got to make the covenant. Like they are attacking. So they are going to be on the naughty list, I guess,